People sometimes have to change their place of residence, maybe due to a new job or school, or moving for family reasons. But whatever the reason for the move, the main thing about why people leave is to find a new place, better than the previous one. Of course, people are very accustomed to a certain place of residence, to their neighbors and their way of life. So when they find themselves in a new place and new conditions, then people have to make new acquaintances and adapt to the new circumstances. It is good if you go to a new place with friends or relatives, but what if you move all alone? Then most likely you need to make new friends as quickly as possible in order to quickly get used to the new place and not to feel lonely. In this video, we'll talk about one girl who for her job had to move to a new area where she did not know anyone, about her first friend and how this friendship ultimately turned out. Vera was a very sociable, cheerful, and kind girl. She always had many friends both at primary school and at university. She easily made friends with her neighbors and acquaintances, and everyone spoke about her in a positive manner. When after receiving her diploma with honors, she was offered a job in another city. She agreed without hesitation and started making all the necessary preparations. At the appointed time, she got onto the train, which took her to a new, unknown world for her. First of all, in the new city, Vera found a suitable apartment for herself. She left her suitcase there and went for a walk to look around, look at all the people, and find the nearest store to buy groceries for herself. When she left the entrance at first, she saw a fairly large yard dog, which looked like a wolf. The girl got scared and jumped away from him, and the dog just sat and looked at her, slightly wagging its tail and showing with all his appearance that he was not dangerous. For a second, the girl even thought that he was smiling at her, as much as a dog could smile. "Don't be afraid, it will not bite," Vera heard a voice from the window on the first floor. "This is Wolfie, a local courtyard dog. He was named that because he looks like a wolf." Vera turned her head to the voice and saw an elderly woman in the window who looked at her kindly. "He is kind and will not hurt anyone, except he can lick a lot, especially if he's smelling a delicacy from someone," the woman said, smiling. Vera thanked her for the information, held her hand out to Wolfie so that he could smell her, and then went about her business very quickly. The girl found a store, bought the necessary products for herself, and then remembered Wolfie and took a treat for him and went back home. Approaching the courtyard, she shouted his name, and immediately he appeared in front of her, as if he was waiting somewhere nearby that she would call him. The girl treated the dog to food and began stroking his neck and back. The dog immediately recognized the girl as his friend and helpfully accepted the food from her hands. And so they met for the next several weeks. Vera brought Wolfie food every day, and he was waiting for her near the entrance. Soon, the girl met friends and they walked together in the evenings around the area and sat on a bench for a long time in the park, but didn't worry about their safety since Wolfie was always there, guarding Vera and her new friends. After Vera submitted all the necessary documents for a new job and underwent the required medical examination, her first day at the new company began. In the morning, the faithful dog waited for Vera near the entrance, escorted her to the bus stop, and in the evening, as soon as the girl got off the bus and shouted his name, he immediately rushed through the courtyard to meet her, happily meeting her knowing that Vera had definitely brought something tasty for him. Several months passed in this way. Every day, their friendship only grew stronger. Of course, the girl was worried that the dog lived on the street and really wanted to take him to her home. But the apartment was rented, and the owner of the apartment was categorically against animals. Therefore, the girl and the dog were content to communicate with each other only on the street, playing together for a long time. Once, Vera stayed with her friend until 2 in the morning. She had to go home, but it was reassuring that her friend lived only a few blocks away from Vera's house, and it was not far to go. Vera left the entrance and went home through the dark courtyard. It was quiet. Everyone was already asleep. Suddenly, the silence of the night was blown up by the hum of a car from which loud music came. Vera stopped to let the car pass and continue on her way. but the car stopped right in front of her, blocking her path. The door opened, and Vera saw 3 men in the car who were obviously drunk and wanted to continue their fun. They looked at the girl with greedy eyes, and then one of them gestured for Vera to get into the car. Vera politely refused, saying that they were waiting for her at home and that she needed to go. But this only caused their anger and aggression. They no longer laughed, but with a serious look, warned her to get into the car. Vera was frozen in terror. She did not know what to do in this situation. Run away? The girl understood that she would hardly be able to run away from 3 men in a car as she was in high heels. While she stood and pondered how to act best in this situation, a menacing dog barking was heard from behind. The girl immediately recognized the voice of her beloved Wolfie. The dog, without stopping for a moment, at full speed hurried to help Vera and flew into the open door of the car. Wolfie snarled and showed his teeth, and with all his aggressive appearance showed that he was ready to attack. The men turned pale in fear and started asking the girl to take her mad dog and that they were ready to leave. The girl had difficulty pulling the dog out of the car as Wolfie was very serious. After that, the dog escorted Vera home, making sure that she was safe, and then sat for a long time at the entrance of the door as if he did not believe that she was no longer in danger. Having come home, Vera could not calm down for a long time. She kept imagining what could have happened if Wolfie had not been there. Then the girl decided to take the dog to her home and become his owner, whatever it cost her. She found another apartment and immediately warning the new owner that she had a dog. The new apartment was on the ground floor in a neighboring building. The girl wanted to live in this area, which was familiar to Wolfie, where everyone knew him and where he knew everyone. The first floor was very convenient because Wolfie could easily go out for a walk on the street and come back whenever he wanted. But now, the dog did not spend so much time in the street because he knew that he now had a home, where his beloved owner was waiting for him. There is always food in his bowl and a warm bed. What do you think about this story? Will your dog protect you at all costs in such situations? Let us know in the comments if you've ever experienced such an incident.